Hi friends, it's Suzanne here. Welcome to another paper pumpkin alternative video on my blog and YouTube channel. This is the July 2016 paper pumpkin, and it comes with baker's twine and a whole bunch of little tags and an ink spot, emerald envy, and these unique boxes to make these jewelry type looking boxes. So immediately I threw away the instructions because I wanted to make cards and not boxes. So I am using my retired craft scissors, and I quite like these scissors, so you can find them at Michael's in the sewing section in case you're wondering. Anyway, so I am making a Christmas card, and I noticed that those triangles were not Christmas tree shaped as well as I'd like, so I sort of cut them down to my liking. So yeah, I just little wedge off of them, and then they were perfect. So continuing on, I'm using some vellum, my embossing buddy, my Versamark ink pad. The stamp set is called Better Together. You can find it in the catalog. There's going to be a link in the description bar below to the online store, so you'll be able to figure out what I'm doing. Heat embossing vellum from the back. It doesn't warp as badly. Moving on, I am using a very light hand and sponging with the Emerald Envy ink that came with the kit. I'm using the pad because I like to use the little guys for travel or, just to hoard, really. Okay, so I'm using my little tweezers to pick up and use Tombow glue, and I think they call it Tombow Mono, whatever. It's green glue as far as I'm concerned. The vellum strip has been cut down and adhered with a little bit of Tombow on the back, and then I used dimensionals on that last tree, and I have now put a glue dot in behind that vellum to stick it, and I actually did a glue dot right underneath this little twine, and I did that bow off screen so it wouldn't kill you to watch. Moving on to card number 2. So I am cutting out all of the triangles. I think I might have used maybe 1.5 little boxes, and I'm just cutting out the little triangles, just using the score lines. Okay, so I am using fast fuse for this, so pretty much there's no going back. I have a little white border. I would say probably 1/8 of an inch around the whole thing. I wanted to border it. Then I realized that my cutting was kind of wonky, and which is upsetting because I'm a hairstylist. It should never happen. So I ended up having to fix that, and I will show you how I did that in a minute. So yeah, I'm just putting random, trying to fit the triangles on the page and that is thick whisper white that you see me using here. And I also have my little adhesive remover off to the back there, so in case I got any glue anywhere, I can always rub it off, and that is something that I would suggest having in your arsenal. Okay, so now I'm just mirroring the triangles, and you can see how well they sort of go together, and it covers the whole entire card front, and I was really pleased the way that it turned out. But then I had to do something, so I went in my stash and I was thinking gold glitter, but it kind of clashed with the bronze, so this is super retired, like I don't even know how many years ago. And I'm sorry, I tried to use current products, but this was the champagne glitter cardstock, and it just has sort of a bronzy look to it, and I had just enough left, so I was really pleased. Yeah, I don't know what you do to try to find something similar, maybe just plain cardstock. Okay, so I heat embossed the Have a Brilliant Birthday, cut it down into a little strip, dimensionals on the back of that. And then I put that on some champagne glitter cardstock. And that is card number 2 completed. Card number 3, probably my favorite one of the bunch. So I'm using the boxes, but I'm taking my bone folder and I'm really burnishing out that crease. I'm trying to do, this is a trick in case you're ever, wanting to remove a crease or a score line. That's how it's done. And I am just cutting maybe a 1/4 of an inch strip from the small polka dotted and the sort of, I don't even know what you would call that, the bigger slashier lines. So I made enough for 2 cards here. If you watch my YouTube videos, you know I like to do 2 or more cards, so that's what I'm planning on doing here with this one. So I've covered an entire piece of Whisper White with this bronze embossing powder. It's amazing, and I'm making you watch all of this because it's just magic. So all I did was smoosh the Versamark pad, and now I have a glittery, shiny, well, it's not glittery, but a shiny whole piece of bronze. Like, it's gorgeous. Then I'm using my 2-inch circle punch and punching that out. So now comes my big shot and my magnetic plate and my layering circles. And I want to just a circle that's a little bit smaller than the copper. And I'm using my embossing buddy, and the Have a Brilliant Birthday is going to be stamped on both and embossed on both. I keep on calling it bronze, but it's really copper, isn't it? Anyway, excuse me. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of Tombow, and I'm starting with the small polka dotty, and I'm just using my grid lines there on my mat, and then the slashy polka dotty, and just the 3 little strips. I think that that's pretty classy. It could be masculine. It could be, for a more mature person. So I'm using the copper thread, and we also sell this in the catalog. A little bit of fast fuse. I wrap it around my fingers a ton of times and just sort of adhere it. Sometimes I have to get the tweezers in to give me a hand, sticking the ends down. But that's how much a messy nest is. Pretty easy to do. Fast fuse on the back of that copper circle, and then dimensionals on the back of that sentiment, and it's put right in front of that messy nest. So I'm turning it around and using my craft scissors, which are now pretty sticky. And that is card number 3. So card number 4 is using some of the baker's twine that we got in the paper pumpkin kit, as well as these little tags that were supposed to be for the boxes. So I've cut them off, and I think they reminded me of banners. So I cut off quite a bit, and then just with some Tombow glue, I am adhering down in sort of a banner shape. And 1 wasn't enough, so I had to go for 2. And just so you know that the baker's twine in this paper pumpkin kit is the Flirty Flamingo, and you cannot get it anywhere else other than paper pumpkin, so that's pretty cool. Just so in case you wanted to know what the pink was, it's Flirty Flamingo. So I'm using my fine tip glue pen here to adhere the baker's twine, and it did take a while to dry. So pre-warned, I probably should have used the Tombow, but when the Tombow dries, it can be sticky. Still, it's like repositionable almost, so I didn't want that. Okay, so a little bit of Scotch tape on the back, and then I put dimensionals on the back of that card front. That's just a simple Whisper White thin. I used my black archival ink, and then I have a whole bunch of dimensionals, and I put it on Flirty Flamingo, and then adhered the whole kit and caboodle onto some Whisper White thick cardstock, and that's the card. It's cute. I like it. So that was card number 4. So card number 5 probably is my second favorite of the grouping. I'm using my Big Shot with my mag plate and the Swirly Scribbles Thinlit dies. And I just ran some of those papers through the boxes. And I am now sponging with Emerald Envy, and this is Peekaboo Peach. So a little bit of Tombow glue on the, I guess it's like wavy. It could be grass. It could be the sea. I was kind of thinking it might be the sea. Anyway, Versamark ink for the sentiment, and it says, it's your day to sparkle. Have a brilliant birthday. And again with the copper embossing powder and heat embossing it. And that just gets adhered to some Emerald Envy. I'm having a little hard time chatting here because I have some dental problems. Anyway, those are my cards for this month's Paper Pumpkin. Hope you liked it. Thanks so much for dropping by. Subscribe if you want to. Check out my blog for more inspiration. See you again.